Good to finally chat to you as well. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think you were previously speaking with, might have been Steve earlier, or one of the team. Awesome, amazing stuff. And hopefully you've seen a few different examples of properties in that time. Do you get any of those emails, or have you seen any of the properties that we occasionally pick up? In terms of finance, like your borrowing capacity is really good and you're around that 600-ish. But most people, as you might have figured out, like start off with, an affordable one. You get the foot in the door, anywhere between that 300, 400-ish kind of mark. Did you have a preference in particular about like a price point, or that you envisioned that you would try to stick to for the first one? Or probably notice as well, like you can do different size deposits. So go either 5, 10 or 20. If you buy a property for 350, we'll then just classify as 10% down of 350 35, and then the remaining stamp duty, legal fees, etc. If you really want to go aggressive, you do 5%, but when you do a 5%, they'll charge you a little more interest to do a 5%, that's all. Yeah, so basically the two main differences is the interest is higher. Technically, if you're doing a 5, you're just more risk technically to the bank. Interest is higher, and you generally pay a little bit more LMI percentage, so you pay more of a upfront fee. 10% usually they'll allow you to go interest only if you want to maximize your cash flow, whereas if you do the 5%, often they'll make you do principal and interest, so your cash flow is really negative. 3 out of the big 4 banks have forecasted 3 or 4 rate cuts next year. I find if you can invest during the hard times, well, that's usually sometimes the best times you get really good deals, because there's less buyers out there that can buy and are buying, and then the interest rates drop down a little bit. That usually sparks a growth cycle in itself, because more people can then buy. So average is probably 6.3, 6.4, 6.5, 6.5-ish roughly. In all those emails, which we'll go through in a minute if you got time, there'll be cash flow sheets that show you the exact income, expenditure, and council rates and water rates and management, and then what your payments will be on average as well. So you can really see that most of them will be neutral or positive cash flow. In a rare occasion, sometimes you pick up one, or one might be currently rented out for less than what it could be getting, because maybe the previous owner hasn't put the rent up in 5 years by not actively putting it up for whatever reason. I've seen it happen a lot, but that's where we'll go through and show you the evidence of, look, other ones are renting for so much more in the market right now, and they should be renting for more, and then usually it might be only a couple months until the rent can go up anyway. On average, I guess, how it kind of works, you might have already heard this, but we get access to quite a lot of properties every single week. We'll break it down by budget and what your preferences are, of course, and what's going to be best suited for that particular person. As I mentioned before, in that 300-ish to 400-ish kind of range, we'll only show you properties in that range. Then if a property comes up to 650, then obviously that won't make sense. Every property, we'll have maybe in that kind of realm, we'll have 1 or 2 often come available literally every week. There's no time frame, there's no pressure, of course. I'll go through the properties with you together and guide you through them. All of them are basically hand-picked from, if there's one property shown, then we literally would have gone through 50 just to narrow it down to one. Because we want to show you, look, it's really good value based off the yield, the growth, and the other properties that are selling out there at the moment. But at the moment, I'd say, look, there's 4 literally available this second to go through. And if you've got emails or a computer in front of you, I'd love to guide you through some of these and show you the attachments, especially because the attachments, there's a lot of reports and data and statistics to go through.